Okay, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Now You Know. And my guest for the day is Kristina Cannon, and she is the Executive Director of Main Street Skowhegan. And you got nothing to talk about, right, Kristina?
Nah.
Nothing at all. Actually, before we went on the air, we agreed that there was about 3 hours of material that we're going to try to compress into 1 hour here this morning. So there is just so much stuff going on in Skowhegan and in the area right now. It is just amazing. And a couple of weeks ago, I met with the town manager, Christine Allman, and we just went through one thing right after another. And I think I started with the most expensive project and worked my way down. Because there's just so much going on and so much money being spent in the community that it's fantastic, really. And so anyways, we're meeting this morning in the new office for Main Street Skowhegan, and it is certainly a work of progress right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. They literally just got moved in over the weekend. And there's a flurry of activity going on around us here this morning. So, folks, if you hear background noise, you'll understand why. So actually, tell us about the move and what's going on here and what's going to be happening to this building.
Sure, yeah. So we have moved to 65 Water Street. Our office is on the first floor, so we are technically 65 Water Street Unit 1. And we have moved all of our staff up here where we have built a couple of offices. And then downstairs in the river adjacent half of the first floor, we're going to actually be opening up the Skowhegan Outdoors Base Camp, which will house our gear library and will also give us the opportunity to host outdoor focused programs.
Sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is Joe Allman's going to be opening his coffee shop sometime in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be like in the front of the first floor.
Yep. Joe's going to be right off Water Street, and then we're going to have a shared bathroom area, and then the Skowhegan Outdoors Base Camp will be in the back, and it's going to be a nice open fluid space where we can have some coffee and talk about the outdoors.
Oh, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about Skowhegan Outdoors. I mean, this has been going on now for 3 years,
mm-hmm.
I guess, or 3 or 4 years. And describe it a little bit.
Sure, yeah. So we have, back when we did our strategic planning process back in 2015 and 16, we learned that the community is really excited about all of our outdoor assets and the outdoor infrastructure that we currently have and will have in the future with the river park and expanded trails. So we were thinking about how we could get our local community members more involved in the outdoors, and we were like, well, let's start running some programs. So in 2019 we launched. We have a team. We've grown our team, and so we have a team of 5 AmeriCorps members, 2 of whom are actually full-time employees for Main Street, and they're running outdoor programs 3 times a week. And we've also created some great collaborations with local partners. So we work with the Move More Kids program. We run outing clubs on monthly on the weekends. We have a collaboration with the after school program, the Reach After School program. We work with Lake George Regional Park, Somerset Woods Trustees, and a number of other partners to get people outside and active in our community. And all the programs are free. And we also have a gear library, as I noted, and you can actually come and borrow gear. If you're a Somerset County resident, it is free, and we're really excited to get more people outside and connected to nature.
Now, I heard that the gear library, you've gradually been building it over the last couple of years, and there's like 180 different items or
Yes.
so forth that you can go to, and including like cross-country skis and snowshoes, and
Yep.
you have canoes and things, or no?
We have canoes, we have stand-up paddle boards. We actually just got a grant to purchase whitewater kayaks, so we're going to be using those mostly for programming, where we're going to do some whitewater kayak trainings. We have snowshoes, cross-country skis, as you noted, for the winter time. We even have the things that you put on the bottom of your boots to go climbing or to go hiking in the winter, crampon type.
Crampons, yes,
Yep.
I use them. Yeah.
So we have camping gear, sleeping bags, mats, tents, all the camp cooking gear that you might need. So everything from camping, low impact hiking, that sort of outdoor activity, all the way up to something a little more adventurous.
Now, all of this is free, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
how do you promote what you're doing each week? Did you say like 3 different programs a week?
So we actually, our team sits down and does the program plan for a couple of months in advance. And so we create a program calendar. And so if you go to scoutingoutdoors.com, you actually can see all the programs at least a month in advance. We send out regular emails to our listserv. So if you aren't on that, you can just go to scoutingoutdoors.com and sign up. And we also get all of our calendars out into our local school system as well. So in addition to, I think it actually goes out in one of the local papers monthly still also. So the one that everyone gets delivered, you know what that one is?
Yes.
Yep. I forgot the name of it. Anyway, so we try to do as much as we can, but we're super excited about moving downtown and being on Water Street because we think we're going to get more foot traffic that way. So people will actually be able to walk by and say, oh, I can go get some outdoor gear, or oh, I can attend a program that's happening right as I walk by. So, and having appointment only gear borrowing has been okay, but I think if we actually have someone sitting at a desk and people can walk in and rent gear, borrow gear, that will really help, increase usage.
And are people taking advantage of that
Yep.
pretty well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We definitely have a couple of rentals a week, or borrows a week, if you will. So we are working on that, all year long, and we have a team that's dedicated to helping people out with that. So.
What are you doing this time of year? I assume you're doing cross-country skiing and snowshoeing and what else?
Well, our partnership with Move More Kids means that we are doing monthly, the first Saturday of every month, we're doing something different. And so in February, which actually we're not going on the 4th because it's going to be very brutally cold this weekend. But so we've postponed to February 11th, but the team is actually taking students over to Titcomb Mountain to go downhill skiing and to get some actual ski lessons.
Okay, so you do downhill skiing, snowboarding too?
Yep, I believe that will be offered, although I don't know for sure. We have to something that people might want to check on. But and Move More Kids is providing transportation in partnership with the local schools. It's open to anyone in Somerset County for free, and there's a lot of opportunity to learn, the sport of downhill.
So there's a lot of things that are going on downtown, and you have your eco-entrepreneurial eco-entrepreneurial program going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about that.
So back in 2020, actually, we were selected, Skowhegan was selected as one of 3 pilot communities in the state to run an entrepreneurial ecosystem project. And so essentially we partnered with the Maine Downtown Center and the National Main Street Center and Maine Community Foundation to assess our entrepreneurial ecosystem. And that's basically a fancy term for assessing our business community and whether or not we have funding, business support, whether or not we have housing to support workforce. So basically the entire ecosystem in what you need to actually have a successful and thriving business community. So we assessed that through a series of surveys and focus groups and in meetings with people. Most of that was via Zoom because it was 2020. Mm-hmm. In 2021, we actually dug a little bit deeper and met with a couple hundred business owners, and we either talked to them on the phone or sent a survey to them or actually met with them in person and really heard from them what they wanted to see in Skowhegan and where they needed some support. And so people were interested in learning more about accounting and marketing. There was a definite need for a business meeting space because we didn't have something like that. And people were excited about the idea of having some more support for our entrepreneurs who are interested in starting or growing a business. Mm. So that information has taken us to launch the Skowhegan Center for Entrepreneurship.
Right, which is located at 181 Water Street, right?
Yep.
Yep. And it is, your space is upstairs.
Yes.
There. And a space on the river, right? It's in that same building and so forth for that. And we actually filmed up there a few months ago with Mackenzie Cave.
Oh, yeah,
that was really nice. It was a really nice space.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoyed going up there. Now you also have this training thing that you do, business training for new businesses, and it's like over 6 or 7 weeks. And at the end, they compete for a $5,000 prize, and that's what happened. Tell us a little bit about that. That sounds pretty interesting.
Sure, yeah. So in addition to launching the Center for Entrepreneurship, we obviously needed someone to help support our businesses and our entrepreneurs. And so we ended up hiring a guy named Patrick Moore. He's our business relations manager. He's been on board for just over a year now. If you haven't met him yet, I'm sure he will be out to see you soon, or you can pop in at the Center for Entrepreneurship. But he has been running programs, regular programs monthly. He forged a programmatic partnership with the Chamber of Commerce also. So we do monthly business meetups in collaboration with the Chamber, where we go and actually hear about an entrepreneur's story. And Patrick also launched the Business Lab and Pitch competition, which the first one that we ever hosted. So it's a little different than what we were doing with our Entrepreneur Challenge back a couple of years ago. This actually is a 7-week program where you learn the basics of business planning. And Patrick helps you through that, along with a number of guest speakers and other people that he brings in. He has a business panel, and you go through essentially creating your own business plan for an idea that you have, or for a business growth opportunity. And so Patrick leads you through that, and at the end there is a $5,000 pitch competition prize. And in the fall, Skowhegan Savings Bank sponsored that, so we're really grateful for their partnership. And our local Matt Quinn from
Quinn's
Quinn's Tree Farm, out in Cornville, he won the pitch competition. He was fantastic at pitching, and we're pleased to say that not only did his business grow by 80% this year, and he saw a significant increase in sales at his retail shop out in Cornville, but he's also been invited to participate in the Top Gun program, which is based in Waterville, but it is run by a statewide organization. So he's, we see ourselves as an organization where we can help our local entrepreneurs feel like they can compete at a higher level and they can grow their business and have the confidence to do that. And Matt will tell you right now that he feels like he has that ability. And so we were excited to see him go, and we're excited to see him compete in Top Gun. So we hope that we can be that we can help fill the pipeline for Central Maine entrepreneurship, essentially. So right here in Skowhegan.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you're going to do this 7-week program again here.
We are. Yeah, we are expecting to open applications again in February, so pretty soon here in the next couple of weeks. And we'll be starting this spring the next 7-week business lab. So really excited about that. If you're interested, you just go to skowheganentrepreneurship.com and you can apply. And we're excited to see the next group of entrepreneurs join us.
Yeah. The Village Initiative, right? Or the
Yes.
Village, am I saying that quite right?
Village Partnership
Initiative,
Yes.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked a little bit about that with Kristina Cannon, but I know you guys are kind of partners with the town in this program. So describe that a little bit. There's a lot of stuff going on with that.
Yeah. Christine Almond, great person to work with. We love partnering with the town. We revived our Main Street Village Design Committee back last fall, and we have about 20 people in the committee who are excited about. And so design is a fancy term, all these fancy Main Street terms, Design is essentially about the infrastructure in your town and traffic flow and pedestrian safety and we're even tackling some real estate stuff and trying to figure out how we can get more housing on second floors. So it's essentially, we're building the space it's placemaking and building a space that we want people to feel welcome to come and live and work and play.
Well, apparently the town was, they were doing the second bridge discussion and like the third or fourth iteration of that over the years, but they were doing that, and they, obviously anywhere you want to locate a bridge, you meet opposition. There's always something that happens, but during that time, I guess there was discussions with the DOT who recommended, I believe, this Village Partnership Initiative, and the town also wanted to kind of step back and analyze the whole thing and just see and look at this comprehensively rather than looking at individual projects. They wanted to look at it as a whole. And so that's kind of, I believe, what started the Village Partnership Initiative.
Yes, yeah, and our design committee, when we started last fall, our intention was to pull together some funding to do a downtown, like a village master plan.
Yeah.
And then we heard about the Village Partnership Initiative. We were like, oh, well, let's join forces. And so when we were interested in looking at bike and pedestrian infrastructure in downtown, riverfront development along the riverfront here, behind the buildings, and then interested in, of course, real estate development in some fashion, which is not necessarily part of the VPI. But we thought it was a great opportunity for us to not work in silos, to collaborate, to bring more people to the table. And we think of our role in that project as more of we hope that our partnership will help increase communication and public engagement throughout that process. Because we're going to be looking at the second bridge again, and whether or not that's something that the town wants. And there's going to be talk about traffic patterns. There's going to be discussions around parking. And, these are going to be difficult conversations, obviously, because this is not only is it a very busy downtown, but we have a very interesting traffic pattern. And we have limited parking. So I think that as we move forward, our role is to try to help communicate more about what's happening and bring more people to the table so it's not a surprise at the end. So.
Well, I think this traffic pattern changed to be one way. I think it was late in the 1950s.
Ah, so it's been a while.
And this was before, yes, it's been a long while, with a lot of changes since. And they had, back then you didn't have all the truck traffic that you have now. You had the log drives down the river. Right. And so you didn't have those things. So now you have those things, and this traffic pattern has become a more difficult thing than it used to be, I think.
Sure. Yep.
Particularly trucks trying to go around the Flatiron District has always been very difficult. So it's not an easy thing to cure. Now, I'm sure you're well aware what Waterville has been doing. Waterville has got they've got the two-way traffic downtown. They had been one way for a long period of time as well.
Yeah.
I don't know whether anything like that is feasible for Skowhegan or not. I think that maybe might be part of the discussions or something. But anything, we got to have something that calms the traffic, I assume.
Yes, yeah. I think traffic calming is a major piece of that, because the more people we want walking and biking downtown, which helps create a vibrant community, we need to make this atmosphere welcoming for them. And having people drive 35 miles an hour on Water Street through the heart of our, commerce district is not ideal.
I was
going to
say only 35.
Yeah, I know. I was being nice.
Of course, I used to own a business downtown, and I got an eagle-eye view of traffic, particularly first thing in the morning and traffic going home at night. And it was like, I call it Speedway 95 going down Water Street, and that really has not changed. Mm-hmm. So in order to get a pedestrian-friendly downtown, you have to do things. And last year, they were trying things. DOT did try the thing where the trucks would keep going straight off the bridges and end up turning and going up North Avenue and across either High Street or Jewett Street.
Yeah.
At that point, and rather than trying to do that circle around Whittemore's real estate building.
Yeah.
And that, there were mixed results to that.
Yes, I think that's a very nice way of saying it, Chris.
Yeah, mixed results.
Yes. And I think the problem there, and not a problem, but I think that more people need to be involved in the process. And so it's not a surprise. I think there has to be greater communication. So we have, working with the town, we actually developed a website called buildskowhegan.com. And so there's information about the Village Partnership Initiative there that you can find. There's also information about the Riverfront Development Project, because last year Main Street received a $2 million grant to help speed up this process of riverfront development over here, which we can talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
But buildskowhegan.com, you can sign up to be on the email list. There's going to be announcements that'll go out on Facebook, and we're also talking about a print piece to go out to people that live in Skowhegan to alert every resident of this process that's happening, and really invite them in, because we want this to be an all voices in approach. You can hear some work going on in the bathroom over there.
All right, this is a working operation here, folks.
So all voices in approach, we feel it's very, very important for people to have a say. And we don't think that there's going to be one magic bullet answer. I don't believe that that's the case. We could be looking at two-way traffic. We could be looking at a number of different possibilities. But we want to find that compromise that people can be happy with. That's going to give us a more welcoming village area that is going to increase the vibrancy of our downtown and bring more people to live, work, and play, and shop and spend money locally. So that's the goal.
One thing you guys did try to do, or you in partnership with the town, you did some stuff with the crosswalks out on Water Street, colored them up a little bit so people could actually see the crosswalks. And do you think that helped?
We actually sent out a survey and asked people what they thought about that, and it was largely positive. There were some constructive feedback, as there is with any project that you try to do. And so we're gonna reassess that for the coming year. I think, we heard from one person that rides his motorcycle through here, that the extra paint, he likes to avoid paint in the crosswalk because it makes it a little slippery when the ground's wet. So like thinking about how we might be able to like add some sort of like, I don't know,
Is it taping?
some sort of dirt or something, or like a grit.
Oh, grit.
A grit to the paint might help. As everyone saw, we were told by the state to use latex paint when we put down the orange and the blue. Clearly that peeled up in like 2 days.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That was unfortunate that was the recommendation. So we went back and actually did our own research and found concrete paint, which is the next iteration, the blue that we used. And so that did last longer, but it's still, so anyways, there will be another iteration of that coming likely, and we're just going to figure out how to best, address some of the constructive feedback. So,
Well, I wish you the best with
Thanks.
this village partnership initiative you've got, and your attempt to involve as many people as possible is always a good idea, because nothing's worse. And quite frankly, I think that whole traffic pattern change that happened, there wasn't enough information out there before that happened, and
when you surprise people, it's never good.
it is never good.
Unless it's like a piece of cake or something.
And all those truck drivers who were on auto program to just go a certain way,
Yeah.
it was just a shock
Yep.
for them. So, communication is the key, like with everything. So, tell me a little bit about the Skowhegan River Park, or you can't tell me a little bit, you can tell me a lot of it.
I can tell you a lot, yeah. I am proud to say that we have raised about $7 million in the last couple of years.
Pretty good.
And we are in the throes of the permitting process right now with environmental permitting agencies. So Christine Almond and I are meeting every week with our team, which is made up of our engineering team and our whitewater architect, and we are full speed ahead. So in the spring last year, we found out about a $2 million grant that we received from the federal government, thanks to Senator Collins and Senator King. That's going to go directly into riverfront development. And so essentially, we want to make sure that the river is accessible to people and that people can see it, they can enjoy it, even if you don't care about a whitewater park or getting into the water necessarily. There's a beautiful place for you to stroll along the river, which will bring people to Skowhegan. So that $2 million, which won't go very far in a project like that, but it's going to help seed that area with the boardwalk, and river access with a set of stairs into the river also, and likely a deck around the 181 Water Street, which will all be public infrastructure for public access. We are focused on making sure that it is a working waterfront too. So we're looking at the best design back there based on feedback from the community, because we did hold a 3-day design workshop in the summer and got a lot of feedback from people. We sent out a survey and people were able to give feedback based on what the design options were. And so we've gone back to the drawing board with the design team, and they have come up with another iteration that basically will hopefully get most people what they want, which will be to maintain parking and delivery access in the back, while also creating a large boardwalk that will actually project out over the river is the plan right now, which does add cost. So I'm going to be doing more fundraising for that project to add to that $2 million, and we're excited to see where that goes. But we're looking right now at the space between the Old Mill Pub and the essentially 185 Water Street just before the municipal building, knowing that there could potentially be some changes if the second bridge goes through in that area. So that's one piece of the river park project, because what good is it to have a river park in your gorge when no one can see it or access it from downtown? So that's a big piece of it. The other grant that we found out about in August, or that we were able to announce in August, was a $4.89 million grant specifically for the in-river features. Yep. And so the plan right now that we've presented to permitting agencies includes 2 whitewater features for kayaking, river surfing, stand-up paddleboarding, basically an individual like park and play destination. So we get a lot of people thinking that it's for rafting. you could take your raft down through the gorge, no one's going to stop you, but it's not going to be nearly as exciting if you were to take your raft down through the gorge up in the forks. So this is really going to be about individual water sports. So whitewater kayaking, river surfing, those are going to be the main activities in the gorge.
Yeah.
So, and then the other piece of that is the whitewater features are only going to be on one side of the river, and
Right.
that's been a request from permitting agencies. So that will leave fish access up one side of the natural river.
Is that tubing as well?
And tubing, exactly, yeah. And so that will give people who have no interest in being in whitewater the opportunity to be in a more natural channel and to actually tube down through the river. And so this set of stairs on the downtown side, the north side if you will give people the ability to put their tube right in and just float down and avoid the river park generally.
So you're hoping maybe to go ahead in phases on this project. So you might get, say, the promenade and steps and ADA accessibility and all that stuff going prior to the features in the river. And
it's
so
very
forth.
possible.
Yeah.
I do not know the exact timeline for things because permitting is required for this, the riverfront development piece also, but
Yeah.
that'll be a shorter timeline, probably 3 to 4 months. Right now we're looking at likely a 10-month permitting process for the in-river features.
You know that promenade and walking area, that was all, it's interesting how projects come back in different forms over the years, but I think we were talking
Wasn't it
about
Riverfront Renaissance?
Riverfront Renaissance, exactly. That was 20, 30 years ago.
1999 or something, I think I saw some plans for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
20-something years ago.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit involved in that. So so you guys are just, these are not necessarily new ideas, but they're
Nope.
kind of revised ideas from things that were on the board years ago. And I'd love to see them get off the ground. So that'd
Yes,
be good.
well, we have money now, and granted, there still needs to be some more funds raised because, as everyone knows, prices continue to go up. Every day that we do not get into into construction, the prices are going up, and so we're just being cognizant of that, and there will be more fundraising happening over the coming months.
Okay,
So.
sounds good. One thing I was aware of too is that you're also talking about a expanded bike path, cross-country ski path, all that. That's kind of on the planning stages, and you're talking about potentially up to 50 miles or
That's what we're estimating, yeah.
of trails through town.
And actually, we just received a grant from the Maine Community Foundation last year to fund a trail master planning process.
Yeah.
So we have hired a guy named Steve, who I'm hoping a bunch of people in the community will get to meet here in the coming months because we're going to be doing a bunch of stakeholder engagement for that. So essentially, we're looking at the current trails that we have and then the new locations for potential new trails and coming up with a design concept plan. And so we're going to be talking to Somerset Woods trustees and meeting with them, and we're also going to be looking as far out of town as Lake George Regional Park because it's still in the Skowhegan area. And so how can we maybe connect downtown to Lake George? How can we increase the number of trails in the downtown area? We have a parcel of land that we've been looking at that might be a great parcel for single track mountain biking trails. So the ultimate goal, and I think I should mention again, back in 2015-16, we heard from the community. We talked to more than 500 people in town, and they wanted to see outdoor recreation become one of our, brand pillars, if you will, something that Skowhegan's known for, alongside with local food, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in a bit. So, outdoor recreation and local food are what Skowhegan is currently known for and will be even more known for in the future. And I think that the more that we can double down on those efforts, the more it's going to differentiate our community. And so having a trail concept plan is going to be that first step in additional funding that will come in to help us build some of those trails.
And if you want to lure more people and young professionals into the area, you've got to offer these types of amenities to it. It's almost an expectation that it be there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're seeing an influx of people come into Maine, or we had or did with the pandemic, because people want outdoor spaces. They want to be able to work remotely and go outside on their lunch break and, paddle or take a short hike. And we're going to be able to offer that right here in Skowhegan.
Excellent. Now, let me mention another project that's going on over on the island. You could tell because I just kind of pointed in that direction.
Yes. Very exciting.
Over on the island, very exciting project, and of course that ties in with this. And if you're going to have a river park and 50 miles of walking and hiking and biking trails and so forth, you're going to need some infrastructure to accommodate that.
Absolutely.
And that project is very exciting because you're going to have apartments, but you're also going to have a hotel over there, which would be helpful along with Bigelow Brewing in there as well. So that all kind of ties in with everything, really.
It does, yeah.
And you want to have, if you want to have a successful downtown area, you've got to have people who can walk to downtown.
Yes.
And so that's all kind of part of that. And it is absolutely amazing the progress that they've already accomplished over there. And I know this has all started with a vision that Jeff and Pam Powers had, but now they've involved money people.
Yeah, High Tide Capital.
High Tide Capital, so we're not waiting around years for grants or anything on this stuff. We're actually in progress doing it with a timeline on when this is all going to happen.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
So you got to get that river park up and going.
I know.
This stuff's going on over here.
Absolutely. And we've been approached now. So we have 2 conferences coming to town in June.
Yeah.
So Build Maine is back, and that brought 300 people to Skowhegan in June of 2022. And but they have trouble finding places to stay. Yeah. And then we're also going to be hosting a half day of the Rural Rise Conference, June 21st. And so we actually submitted a proposal for us to host the whole conference, but they said no, that they needed to actually stay in Waterville because Skowhegan doesn't have the hotel infrastructure. So while I was thoroughly depressed by that, I'm okay with the fact that we're partnering with Waterville because I think our communities are very complementary to one another. Yeah. You've got the arts and the innovation and tech scene down in Waterville, and we've got the outdoor rec and local food, and so fine, we'll share with Waterville, totally cool, but at the same time, we need more places for people to stay and more places for people to live. So if you are listening in as a developer, there are buildings for sale in Skowhegan that can be redeveloped, and there's space to build some more. So we need more housing, and with New Balance, spending what they are to bring in I think another 200 employees. 200 employees. We need more housing. So
we really need more housing.
Come to Skowhegan.
Not only need more housing, we need more employees. More people. I asked that question to Christine Almaday. Where are you getting the 200 people? And well, I guess that's New Balance's problem. Right?
Well, and I'm less concerned about the people and more concerned about where they're going to live.
Yeah. Well, and you have, I know they have that Mary Street project. I call it the old women's reformatory because many years ago that's what that area was. But they've got that building going. It looks as though that should be opening sometime this year, right?
I think so. I'm not sure.
And I'm assuming is that more subsidized housing there? I assume.
I don't know if it's subsidized. I don't know the details behind that specifically.
Yeah, I'm probably bringing that up to the wrong person here, but in terms of housing, that may help to some degree. Is that 40? I shouldn't be speculating on air about that stuff. I should be
ask KV Cap.
Yeah, KV Cap as to what that is. But anyways, that will contribute to the housing. They were talking about, was it 40 apartments in the new place on the island? There are a number of apartments. Those would not be lower income subsidized apartments.
Market rate.
I think those are market rate type apartments. But anyways, between the two, there's some progress being made.
Yeah.
I certainly know that Sam Height is in a project up in Madison to do something. So maybe we can convince Sam Height to do something.
We certainly might be
How about
able
that?
to. Yeah.
How about putting that on the air?
Right. Well, we just did it.
Yeah, we just did it. So we'll see. But the bottom line is, you're absolutely right. We need new housing to accommodate all the things that are going on here in the area. That's for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the foodie scene in Skowhegan. And I know right downstairs from where we're taping is that's not the right word anymore. Taping, but that's on old fashioned. But downstairs is Joe Allman's business. It's going to be opening in a few months, I would say. And there's stuff going on that I think you were at liberty to announce now, right?
Yes,
The, what I call the old Somerset Recorder building, which is down by Space of the River.
Next to the municipal building.
Yes.
Yeah, 185 Water Street is the official address of it.
So what's that going to be?
Well, for those who don't know, local guy Eli Soul and his wife Kim Leo own that building. They just bought it, I don't know, a little over a year ago now. And he has agreed to partner with us on a new initiative where we're going to actually build a commercial kitchen in the space, and we will then have like a little like food market, food stall area where people, so essentially the goal is that we will have, similar to like the public market down in Portland and the food fork lab in Portland also, where we have this ability to incubate some businesses, and by that I mean help them grow and like establish themselves to be like out thriving on their own. Where if you are interested in any type of food business at all, you could come and use the commercial kitchen space. So I think actually we've got a couple of businesses right in town who might use it because they, don't necessarily have their own kitchens in their buildings. So you could rent some space from the commercial kitchen, and then you could also, if you wanted to actually test your project, you could have a stall in the building where you'll be able to sell your food. So if you're canning something or making ice cream, or if you're trying to start a food truck, you could potentially use one of these stalls, we're calling them. I think we're planning for probably 4 or 5 stalls. There's also the potential to have, it's going to be a flex space, so there could be a market type space in there as well. But either way, the point is to have that commercial kitchen to help grow some more local food businesses in the area.
So they can test and see how things are going, and then obviously the hope is that they will then invest in some other location in the area and open up. So that should be pretty interesting. Are we talking about this summer for that? Or?
We received $195,000 from the Maine Technology Institute. We were very excited about that news. It just broke in January, actually. And so we are going to use that whenever so Eli is actually working on renovating the space kind of now. We're getting started soon. We're going to go down and tour actually this Friday the Fork Food Lab in Portland. Okay. So we'll get a sense of what that looks like down there and get going on our project up here. So hopefully within a year we'll have a commercial kitchen open up there with some businesses that will be joining us.
So will there be, say are they going to be around the outskirts of that, and then maybe is it going to be like a food court type thing where you can sit in the center there? And
that's a great question. And so the answer is more or less yes. So we're planning on leasing the backside of that building closer to the river, or we haven't figured out the exact layout yet, but leasing from him the commercial kitchen space and the food court, if you will, space. And then that's going to leave another like 3,000 square feet for some additional stuff. And so Eli is, I don't know if I'm at liberty to talk about what he's interested in doing, but we're working on a collaborative venture in which we would have food and he might provide another amenity for business or for people to enjoy. I also have, Eli has also mentioned a stage for entertainment, a deck for, outdoor seating. And so I think that I don't want to give away too many things because I'm not sure if everything is set in stone, and I don't want to make public announcements about things that I'm not in charge of. However, we are thrilled about that partnership. We can't wait to see things get off the ground, and people should stay tuned because that building is going to come to life in a way that it has not in many, many years.
So in terms of keeping people in downtown Skowhegan, the restaurant scene should be improving immensely when you think about it. I mean, we've kind of go through the downtown section. We got Old Mill Pub, and then we're going to have Joe's Flatiron Cafe, and then you go down, you've got Zap Thai Restaurant.
And of course the Bankery,
how can I ignore those guys? Yeah, the Bankery, of course, and then Zap, and then you'll have the food operation that we're talking about at Eli Saul's building. So you're going to have a number of places to be able to go.
Yeah. And then of course we just had Brickyard Hollow open up with the street.
I'm just I was thinking about that too. And they have been, I don't know what their numbers are up there, but judging by all the cars I see driving by on the street, they've been doing pretty darn well.
Yeah, and the Miller's Table, of course, and then Brick House Kitchen.
Brick House Kitchen.
Just opened a little bar up in their area to bring in some more people.
Oh, is that what they did?
Yeah, they're calling it a speakeasy, so I haven't been in to check it out yet. Oh, and Unwind. So, yep.
And Unwind, oh my goodness.
So many, see,
I'm
all
leaving
these things
people out.
already, and Bigelow's moved to the island.
Bigelow. So yeah, when you put all of that together, that really is going to be quite something to keep people in downtown Skowhegan.
Yeah.
So.
And I'd like to see, we're talking mostly about the north side right now, but, we've got a lot of great businesses on the south side, and I think that when we talk in this Village Partnership Initiative about how we're gonna develop the village of Skowhegan, I think that people should recognize that we are not just focusing on the Water Street area.
Right.
There is another side of Skowhegan, which I think of Skowhegan all as one, but I know that there are people that think about it as north side, south side. I think that we should be thinking more broadly than that, and I think we should say, okay, we've got these bridges. We potentially might have another bridge. I don't know. We've got a couple of walking bridges, and we've got connectivity to the other side. That side is equally as exciting because there is you've got a number of businesses over there, and our connectivity is just a skip and a hop across that river. So.
And the diversity of food is growing.
Yes, there's a new Indian restaurant opening over there.
Exactly what I was going to say.
And you've got Al's and so many, and the ice cream shop on the island, so Island Dairy Treat. So anyways, lots of things happening.
That's the trouble when you start naming businesses, then you're leaving people out, and then, you didn't mention me.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Indian restaurant, and now there's, I think I was talking to you a little bit about this before going on the air. There's some things going on in this community now that I never would have envisioned years ago. I never would have envisioned people eating Indian food. So I hope they do. I hope they do. I'm certainly going to try it.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I like curry products.
As popular as Zap is, and how busy they were when they opened, after MTI closed, I think that there's a definite need for a little more, cultural diversity in our food options. So I think it's great to have some different options.
That will be another lure to people to come to this area.
Yep.
If you have that. So that's fantastic. We've done all this, and we haven't even talked about Somerset Snowfest, and that is coming up right soon. We're recording this program on Wednesday, February 1st, and that's coming up in just a couple weeks on the 18th, right? Starting the 18th?
It officially kicks off on the 17th.
17th.
We are doing a launch party at Bigelow Brewing. They've done a collaborative beer, or brewed a collaborative beer with Baxter Brewing, and so Bigelow and Baxter will be launching the Snowfest ale, I believe it is, that evening. And so on the 17th, mark your calendars, come up to Bigelow. We're starting at 4. We're going to celebrate the launch of the beer, and then we're going to be talking a lot about Snowfest because it does kick off that evening and runs through the 26th. Yep.
Okay. And you've got so many things going on during Snowfest. If I had to pick one dominant thing, it probably would be ski joring, right? Although you got a ton of other things going on as well. And the ski joring thing has really taken off.
It has.
We were the first in the state. Now I hear Thompson is doing it as well.
Yep.
And it's up at the Skowhegan State Fairgrounds on the track.
Yep.
And discuss a little bit about that. I mean, this is really apparently they were doing it out west in some of the ski towns out in Colorado, Montana, in that area. But I think you guys were the first, or one of the first, to bring it back east.
So Mary Haley, gotta give her credit. She used to work for Main Street. She's now, we actually partner with her on marketing. So she runs her own marketing firm, so she's our marketing consultant. But she is our scheduling person. She pitched the idea to us back when we hired her, and this will be our fifth year running that we've been hosting Skajor Skowhegan. It is part of Somerset Snowfest, which is part of our collaborative winter festival with Lake George Regional Park. There's events happening out there at the park, but also at Lakewood Golf Course, and so it's really a nice. Oh, and at Weston Woods and Waters in Madison. So we've even expanded it a little more broadly this year. But Main Street is focused on really ramping up Skajor Skowhegan at the fairgrounds, and so that's on February 25th, starting at 11. We are expecting 50 to 60 teams, and so that means a horse and a rider pulling either a skier or a snowboarder, and they're going to be racing right in front of the grandstand on the track, and it's very exciting to watch. So we've got two different divisions. One is more of a novice division, which is very, very heartwarming and exciting to see some new people learning, you know, the excitement of skijoring. But then we've got a pro division, and we actually have someone who's won a couple years in a row, and I would love to see some more competition and more people out there, and you know, it's really exciting to watch, and really a great way for Skowhegan to showcase itself in another way related to outdoor recreation.
Now, my understanding, there aren't really any necessarily pros or novices. It's more how you decide you want to compete.
It's how you decide, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And basically the differentiation is in terms of the difficulty of the obstacles
Yes.
and so forth.
Totally.
So how does that work?
So we partner with Sugarloaf, and they come down and actually build the track for us the week before the event.
Sugarloaf,
Yeah, they bring their groomer down and their team of snow
fantastic.
experts.
That's nice.
And they build, so for the pro division, there are a series of 3 jumps that you're supposed to hit. And actually as part of that, we've ramped up the level of expertise here over the last 2 years, where we've added rings. So when you hit the jump, you're supposed to grab some rings also. So like pool rings, essentially. And so that's essentially what the pro division looks like. If you are a novice division, we want you to go around some gates, which are, you know, just brush gates in the ground. Yeah. And then we have a series of rollers that you can hit. So if you're not going quite as fast, that's a little safer track for you. So yeah.
So you make that determination beforehand, what division you want to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are the prizes for winners?
We give cash prizes.
Nice.
And we upped it a couple years ago, to be honest with you. I can't remember. I think it's like $300 for the winning team. And Franklin Savings Bank is our partner in that. So they underwrite the prizes for us each year. Baxter Brewing is our sponsor, our lead sponsor for skijoring. And of course, the Height family of dealerships is the Snowfest sponsor. So we have a number of businesses who are really supportive, and we know it's a tough time of year in a lot of ways, but our goal is to bring more people to Skowhegan, and we've seen that with skijoring and with Snowfest. In fact, we had a person who came up, and she had a solo adventure to Central Maine. She came and stayed at the town motel last year, and she attended 5 days of Snowfest, and we were excited to meet her. She came out for one of the initial events, and then we saw her throughout the week at a number of different things, including skijoring. And then when we talked to one of our downtown businesses after skijoring last year, she said she had her best sales day ever. So this is like really what I want people to know is that Main Street Skowhegan is about far more than events, and I think for a long time that's what we were known for. But as you can see, we're doing so many more things. But events are still important, because we need to bring people to Skowhegan to see what we have to offer. And so skijoring and Somerset Snowfest is just another way that we're doing that.
Well, my understanding is you had roughly 2,000 people.
Yep, and we're expecting 3.
That. So those people some are going to stay in hotels, and some are going to be shopping and locally, and certainly eating and all that stuff. Yep. So the spin-off effects when you get a few thousand people in a community are pretty darn good.
And we got a grant from the Maine Office of Tourism to ramp up our marketing efforts this year in celebration of the 5th year. And we're expecting 3,000 people, pending good weather, of course.
Fantastic.
You know.
Well, glad you're not having it this weekend.
I know, me too. It's supposed to be like 50 below with the wind chill.
So with the Snowfest, you really have involved 3 different communities in it: Skowhegan, Madison, and Canaan.
Yep.
And of course, the Canaan part is the Lake George east side of that. So you have a lot of events going on. You want to just kind of take it by location and go over some of the events that are going on. How about Lake George?
So at Lake George, on the first, they're actually like the first full day of activities, and it kicks off in the morning with a bobsled race for kids, which is very popular. At noon the same day, there's going to be a downhill kayak race, which is always entertaining to watch people actually race downhill on their kayaks.
Where are they racing from?
If you are on the west side of the park and you drive in, there's off to the left, there's like a little trail up to the field, and they race right down that trail.
Oh, okay, I know where you're at.
And Justin's actually built a platform for them to launch off of, so that should be exciting.
Yeah.
So, there's the Ice Hole World Championship.
Yeah, it's like cornhole on ice, right? So,
yep.
and I read about it. It's like you cut holes in the ice, and it's like 30-something feet apart.
Yep.
And so you're throwing a puck or something to see if you can get in a hole? Is that what?
I believe that's the case. I have not played it yet. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that new?
It is new. In fact, I believe local Jason Cook and his family perhaps created the event, or the competition, the event, and I think they're selling them as like a kit. So I believe that there's also a net or something that goes into the water, so when you cut your hole, you don't lose your puck.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good.
So.
Yeah.
So we're excited to have that, and hosting something as the World Championship. You're putting a lot of emphasis on your program. So we're hoping to see other championships pop up around the country, perhaps as ice hole takes hold of the country.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think the ski joring thing, what you've done, at least on the East Coast or in the Northeast, now you've already seen Topsom get into the act, and they're excited about it. So I assume that's gonna mushroom from there, I suppose.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see another community interested in hosting, and we were thrilled to remove we're okay with not being the only in the Northeast anymore, because we would love to see more people get into the sport. So, Lake George also is hosting a triathlon on February 26th, and so people should register for that if you are interested in doing, being part of a team of 3 or doing it solo. It is snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and fat biking. And then there's a kite festival that same day out on the lake as well. And we've got a gentleman who's driving from New York, bringing a bunch of big kites that he's going to actually affix to the ice that will be flying out there on the 26th, which will be really cool to see.
Well, hopefully you have a little bit of a breeze that day.
I hope so.
Not too much
Yep.
in that time of year, but anyways, that'd be nice.
Yep.
So you got that.
Oh, and the ice fishing derby. I can't forget about that.
yes. Ice fishing derby, and what is that? You get prizes for the top 2 in each species, I think, of fish or something along those lines.
Good question. I don't know the answer to that.
I think I read it somewhere.
Yeah.
Or I made it up, one or the other, but I think it was
there are prizes, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's go to the Madison piece
Mm-hmm.
of what's going on, and that includes Lakewood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Lakewood Golf Course is hosting a couple of events. Skowhegan Outdoors actually uses the Lakewood Golf Course trails quite often during the winter, where we host cross-country ski clinics. Lakewood is actually also hosting through the Jim Brown Foundation in partnership with, through the Jim Brown Foundation, a 9 and Wine, I think they're calling it.
Yeah.
So it's skiing a 9K and then enjoying some beverages out by the bonfire. So that should be a fun activity.
Well, apparently they do this in the summertime as part
yeah,
of
with
the golfing thing too.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's wine though. They call it 9 and Wine, but it's
I think it's gonna be cider or something.
Cider,
yeah,
some spiked cider.
Yeah.
But and they have mocktails, I think they're called.
I think they do too. Yeah.
So that should be fun.
Mm-hmm. And Move More Kids is doing a story walk earlier in that same day out at Lakewood. And then Somerset Woods Trustees is hosting Monday through Friday of school vacation week, which is the Snowfest week. If you go, I believe it's sometime in the morning, like around 10 o'clock. They're doing an activity every day up at Weston Woods and Waters in Madison. So the new parcel of land that they purchased along the Kennebec. And so they're hosting, I know they're doing some cross-country skiing. They're doing one that's intriguing to me called What's in the Woods. So I think they've got a geocaching event too. So there's going to be a ton of things going on, and it is right in school vacation week. So we really hope that people can go out and get out with their families and their kids and enjoy all that Skowhegan and Madison and Canaan have to offer.
Yeah, and as far as Skowhegan, we kind of covered the Lake George piece too, but apparently Coburn Park is hosting some things. And
yeah, we're hosting horse and sleigh rides in Coburn Park, assuming we can get in the fence there. It's always depending on how much ice is built up, but that's the plan.
Right. Yeah.
So if not, we'll find another location. But the plan is we like hosting them at Coburn Park because it gives people the ability to walk if they don't have transportation. So the horse and sleigh rides are free.
And I think you've got some cross-country skiing events on some of the Coburn Woods trails and Philbrook and some of the other things are going on as well, I think. So.
And there is also a Yeti hunt, which is a new activity this year. Yeah. One of our AmeriCorps members, Mitch, is going to dress up as a Yeti. And we are hoping that kids show up and go on a scavenger hunt to find the Yeti. So, and that's, I believe, at Lake George. So.
And if you like beer, Bigelow Brewing, I think, is like Saturday, whatever day that is, the first Saturday of the time out at Lake George, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They're having their
Yes, they're setting
beer
up a
tent.
bar. Yep,
Yeah, beer tent out there.
Yep.
And I know Baxter Brewing is very involved with this thing, and they'll be up at the fairgrounds during the ski joy.
Yes. Yep.
So they'll be up there. So.
And I heard tell that Unwind is going to do an ice bar, build an ice bar out back.
Oh, no kidding.
I believe that's happening. I don't want to spill the beans, but I think.
Well, you just did.
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook. So that's
you can always rely on Facebook.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So that'll be very nice too.
Yes.
With them involved
Mm-hmm.
as well. So.
Yep. And if any business has any event or activity that they're planning to do during Snowfest, we'll put on the schedule. The more, the merrier. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like another fun time
Mm-hmm.
for the town. Let's just hope you have plenty of snow and you don't have sub-zero temperatures and
Hope so. Hope not. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and things will cooperate here. That's the main weather always cooperates, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
so,
hope. Knock on
so
wood,
see
right?
what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a couple minutes left, just a couple minutes. That went by really fast. Anything else you want to mention? Upcoming
Sure.
things?
I have a specific thing that people may not know about, but this is Skowhegan's bicentennial year. And
oh my goodness, forgot all about that.
though we recognize that the Wabanaki were here much longer than we were before Skowhegan was established. This is technically the 200th year that Skowhegan has been
Skowhegan
official.
town.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyways, we are celebrating all year long, and so we are hosting we actually are going to pull together a bunch of groups in town, and if you haven't heard from us and want to be involved, you can email us at Main Street Skowhegan. But we are convening groups to basically pull together activities that are going to be bicentennial themed. And so we're doing a bunch of things, and we're going to tag everything that we're doing with the bicentennial stamp, if you will. We've got a graphic that we're working on that we're going to launch as part of the bicentennial planning effort. And there is a new website, skowhegan200.com, where we're going to be putting all the events that are happening, and we hope that people get excited about this and really do some cool and unique bicentennial themed events. So.
With all the other things that are going on around town, you just could almost get lost in the shuffle, but obviously a bicentennial is a big thing.
Yes, for sure. So we
did
did not forget. So
I
it was
remember,
very exciting.
and this is going back before your time, but they had the sesquicentennial, that was 150th, I believe, and I think the males in the community, I forget what the females had to do, but the males in the community had to grow beards.
Oh, interesting.
As part of it. I remember my dad had. So it was kind of interesting. Are you going to make us do anything like that for the 200th?
Our goal is to just...
John's working on his beard.
I don't know. I feel... I'm not sure we'll have anything like that, but who knows? Maybe another organization will do a beard growing contest. And,
well, I just threw it out there. That's what they did 50 years ago. So
I think we're going to focus on our efforts at Main Street on Riverfest. And so that's a big collaborative event for the community, of course. And I think, there's some discussion about what we could bring back that was, reminiscent of log days, perhaps.
Yep.
I've heard, and this was part of my time, that apparently there was a very long parade that went all the way down Madison Avenue as part of that event. And so who knows? Who knows what we'll bring back and how we'll ramp up Riverfest. But I think it's due time that we put some more effort into that event and really make it a celebration of all things related to the river. So.
Well, we certainly talked about a lot of topics here in an hour because there were a lot of topics to discuss, and I'm sure we left a lot on the table, which just means you're going to have to come back again sometime. We're going to come to you again sometime.
Great, happy to talk.
Because John and I now do road shows. We used to always film in Madison, the studio, but we love coming to the location, and we've even done a lot of outside stuff too, and also a lot of drone footage, which I think has played in pretty well with some of our shows. So we're willing to go wherever and whenever to make things happen.
Cool. Well, that's great. And
So-
I'm sure there will be plenty of stuff for you to cover in the coming future.
It sure sounds it. Well, thank you very much, Kristina Cannon, and we'll have you back soon. And